All right, so we're diving deep into these RoleCatcher resources to help you prep for that recycling worker interview.
Yeah, getting you ready to impress those hiring managers.
It's like having a personal prep coach in your back pocket.
Yeah, we've got a ton of good material here.
Okay, so first things first, let's break it down. What does a recycling worker actually do?
Yeah, it's more than just sorting bottles, you know?
Right, I was thinking that.
It's like a lot of cleaning and preparing materials too, removing contaminants.
Oh, so there's a quality control element too?
Exactly.
Oh,
And making sure everything's sorted properly for processing, and then all the equipment you might be working with, machinery, dismantling things.
Oh yeah, conveyor belts.
Conveyor belts. It's a pretty dynamic role.
It sounds like you need some serious stamina.
Definitely, and attention to detail.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it. Those interview questions. What's the first one they might throw your way?
Okay, well, what motivated you to pursue a career in recycling? That's a classic.
Right.
It seems simple, but they want more than just a surface level answer.
So I can't just say, I care about the environment.
No, they want to see the passion, like what led you to this path.
Okay.
Was there an event or a documentary or a personal experience that sparked your interest?
Oh, I see. So maybe something like, I've always been passionate about protecting the environment, but after volunteering at a local beach cleanup, I was just struck by all the plastic waste.
Yeah.
And that experience made me realize just how important recycling is, and that's why I want to pursue this career
Yeah.
to make a real difference.
Now you're talking. That's great. It shows genuine interest and a real experience that you had.
And that's where RoleCatcher comes in, right?
Exactly. Their AI can analyze your answer and give feedback,
Whoa.
like how well it aligns with the job description, so your response really resonates with the employer.
That's incredible. So it's like having a coach tweaking my answers
Right.
for each specific job. What's next?
All right, next question. Can you describe your experience operating recycling equipment? Now, this one might not apply to everyone, but it's important to be prepared.
So what if I don't have direct experience with that specific equipment?
Well, honesty is always key,
Yeah.
If you don't have direct experience, focus on those transferable skills. Like, have you operated other types of machinery? Are you a quick learner?
I mean, I think so.
You gotta highlight those things, your adaptability and eagerness to learn new skills.
So I could say something like, while I don't have experience with specific recycling equipment, I'm a fast learner, and I have operated forklifts and pallet jacks before.
Yeah.
I'm confident I can quickly learn and adapt to new equipment and procedures.
Exactly. And you know what RoleCatcher's AI can actually do?
What?
It can look at your resume and the job description
Oh,
and identify transferable skills that you might not even realize you have.
that's pretty cool.
And suggest certifications that would be a good fit, like forklift operation or Hazel-Wilper training.
Oh, those are great.
Yeah, those show your commitment to safety and they boost your qualifications.
So even if I don't have direct experience, I can still make a good impression
Exactly.
by showing that I'm willing to learn.
Yes, and that you have relevant skills.
And speaking of safety, that's a big deal in this field, right?
Oh, huge safety is paramount.
I imagine so.
They'll probably ask something like, how do you ensure that recycling operations comply with safety regulations?
Yeah, they want to know you're responsible.
Exactly. They want to know that you're proactive.
So what are they looking for in my answer?
It's not enough to just rattle off the rules. They want to see your thought process. Like, how do you approach safety practically? Think about specific steps you would take to make sure you have a safe working environment.
So maybe I could say something like, safety is always my top priority. I would make sure I know all the safety protocols for the facility and conduct regular equipment inspections, wear the right PPE,
Yeah.
and encourage my colleagues to do the same. If I see any potential hazards, I would immediately report them to the supervisor.
Exactly. See, that's good because you're showing that you're not just saying the right things.
Right.
You're actually thinking about how to implement those safety practices.
And RoleCatcher has something for this too, right?
Of course. Their AI can give feedback on this type of answer and suggest specific safety protocols
Oh,
or regulations that are relevant to that specific role.
so it's like having a personal safety advisor.
Exactly.
Okay, but there are more challenging questions coming, right?
Oh, there are plenty more. But let's take a break and we'll dive back in with more insightful questions in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good to me. We'll be back soon with more tips and tricks to help you ace that recycling worker interview. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. We've covered some common interview questions for recycling workers, and you're probably feeling a bit more confident about how to approach them.
Definitely more prepared, for sure. And it's amazing how RoleCatcher's AI can really help tailor those answers.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, and those safety considerations, too.
Yeah.
What other tricky questions should we be ready for?
Okay, so let's think about problem solving. They often ask something like, can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem with a recycling process? They want to see how you think on your feet.
So should I, like, make up a dramatic story, about some near disaster? Or is it better to stick with real-life examples?
Always best to draw from your own experience, but it doesn't have to be, a Hollywood crisis.
Right.
Just think about a time when you faced an obstacle, even a small one, and how you handled it.
Right.
Maybe a sorting machine jammed, or a bin overflowed, or you noticed a recurring contamination issue.
I see.
Focus on the steps you took to identify the problem, analyze the situation, and find a solution.
So maybe I could talk about a time when I was volunteering at a community recycling event, and we noticed a lot of plastic bags ending up in the paper bin.
Yeah.
We ended up adding clearer signage. We double-checked the bags, even stationed a volunteer near the bins to guide people.
Perfect. You highlighted problem-solving, attention to detail, and initiative all in one example.
And RoleCatcher's AI can help with this too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It can analyze the job description and suggest common problems specific to that role.
Oh, wow.
Gives you more ideas to draw from.
So it's like a behind-the-scenes look at what the employer's expecting.
Exactly.
Speaking of expectations, what about time management? That's got to be huge in a busy recycling facility.
You're right. Time management is crucial. They'll often ask about prioritizing tasks and meeting deadlines. They might say, how do you prioritize tasks when working on a recycling project with multiple deadlines?
So they want to know if I can juggle multiple things without dropping the ball.
Exactly. How do you convince them you're a master of time?
Right.
Think about your own strategies for staying organized.
Okay.
To-do lists, calendars, specific apps. How do you decide what to tackle first based on urgency and importance?
Well, I love to-do lists. I prioritize based on deadlines and impact, and I like to break down larger projects into smaller steps.
Great.
Keeps me organized and helps make sure things get done on time.
You've shown your organization skills and your ability to handle complex tasks. And here's another tip. RoleCatcher's AI can actually recommend specific organization tools or strategies that are commonly used in the recycling industry, so it might highlight things like digital tracking systems or collaborating with team members to manage workflows.
So RoleCatcher's not just about the interview, it's about how the industry actually works.
It's about giving you a real leg up.
That's awesome. What other areas should we be focusing on?
Quality control, ensuring those recycled materials are top-notch. They'll want to know how you make sure things meet industry standards.
It's all about those usable materials, right?
Exactly. Right. So how do you showcase that commitment to quality?
Right.
Think about the steps involved in sorting and processing. How would you make sure contaminants are removed, things are sorted correctly, and that final product is up to par?
Okay.
Highlight your attention to detail and understanding of quality control procedures.
So I could say, I know that contamination can be a big problem. I'd carefully inspect materials, double-check my work, and follow those sorting guidelines really carefully.
Yeah.
And if I notice anything that didn't meet the standards, I'd immediately flag it for further inspection.
Excellent. You've shown you understand the process and that you're committed to maintaining those quality standards.
And I bet RoleCatcher has some insights here too, right?
Of course, their AI might suggest specific quality control measures like visual inspections, density checks, or even specialized equipment to detect contaminants.
RoleCatcher's like a cheat sheet for the entire recycling industry.
It's like having a secret weapon.
I love it. What else can we learn from these resources?
Let's talk about staying up to date because recycling, it's constantly evolving,
Right.
New tech, new best practices all the time.
So how do I show, I'm committed to that,
Yeah.
To continuous learning.
They might ask, how do you stay up to date on industry trends and best practices in recycling? So be ready to share your go-to resources, how you stay informed.
Should I just say, I Google recycling news every once in a while, or do they expect something more specific?
They want to see that you're actively seeking knowledge, not just browsing casually. So
Yeah.
highlight those specific industry publications. You read webinars or conferences, you attend professional organizations you follow.
Oh, okay. So I could mention subscriptions to publications like Waste 360 or Resource Recycling.
Yeah.
Or my involvement with the National Recycling Coalition.
Perfect.
I could even mention attending industry conferences or taking online courses.
Now you're talking, you've demonstrated initiative and that commitment to professional development.
And RoleCatcher's got my back here too, right?
Always, they can recommend industry-specific publications or organizations, even events
No way.
tailored to the job you're applying for.
It's like having a personalized reading list for my career.
Exactly.
Wow, RoleCatcher really does go above and beyond. It's like having a personal mentor guiding me through this.
It's all about setting you up for success.
I'm feeling good about this. What else do we need to cover?
Okay, let's shift gears and talk about those leadership qualities and how to showcase your ability to work with others. We'll cover all that in the final part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Hmm.
Let's take a quick pause and come back for the final round of tips and insights to help you ace that recycling worker interview. We're back for the final part of our recycling worker interview prep.
All right, let's do it.
I'm feeling so much more prepared now after going through all those questions.
I bet.
What else do we need to cover to really nail this thing?
Okay, so we've tackled safety, problem solving, quality control, staying up to date.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Now we've got to focus on those essential soft skills.
Oh, you mean like leadership, teamwork, communication?
Exactly. Employers are looking for those things too, even in a hands-on job like recycling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what kind of questions should I expect in this area?
Well, they often ask, can you describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision in a recycling project?
Yeah.
They want to see your judgment, your decision-making skills in action.
Okay, so do I need to invent some story about a major ethical dilemma or life or death situation?
No, it doesn't have to be that dramatic.
Okay,
But it should be a real challenge, where you had to weigh different factors and make a tough call.
I see.
Maybe there was a conflict between efficiency and quality, or a safety concern, or a disagreement among team members.
Right.
Just focus on how you approached the situation, gathered information, and made a decision that you could stand behind.
Okay, so maybe I could talk about a time when I was working on a project to improve the sorting process for a certain material. We
Yeah.
were trying to increase the recycling rate, but I noticed that some of the materials were being miscategorized, which was leading to contamination. So I brought this to my supervisor's attention, suggested a more thorough inspection process, and worked with the team to implement those changes.
Perfect example. You showed that you're not afraid to speak up. You're a problem solver, and you can collaborate to find solutions.
Right. And RoleCatcher's AI can help here too, can it?
Right. Of course, it can provide insights into common challenges or ethical considerations that recycling workers might face, so you'll have more ideas for your answer.
It's like a window into the real-world dilemmas that come up in this field.
Exactly.
Okay, what about teamwork? How do I show off my ability to work effectively with others?
Well, interviewers often ask about your experience working on teams or collaborating with different stakeholders. Like they might say, can you describe your experience working with local government agencies or stakeholders in the recycling industry?
Okay, but what if I haven't had any direct experience with government agencies or those big industry players? What can I talk about?
Think about any situation where you had to collaborate, communicate, and work towards a common goal. Maybe you volunteered for an environmental organization or worked on a team project in school or a community project.
I see.
It's all about showing you can build relationships, communicate clearly, and contribute to a team effort.
Okay, so I could talk about a time when I volunteered at a community garden that was focused on composting and sustainable gardening.
Yep.
And we worked with local residents, organized workshops, and collaborated with a nearby school to teach kids about composting.
Great example. You've shown your passion for sustainability, your ability to work with different people, and your communication skills.
Yeah, and I bet RoleCatcher's AI has something for this too.
Always, it can actually provide insights into these specific stakeholders or agencies that employer might interact with.
Wow.
So you'll have even more context for your answer.
This has been such a helpful deep dive.
Glad to hear it.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Good. I hope it helps you feel more confident going into that interview.
It definitely does. Any last words of wisdom?
Remember, preparation is key. Anticipate the questions, craft your answers, and use those resources like RoleCatcher's AI
Right.
to really refine your approach. You'll be set to make a great impression. Just showcase your passion for sustainability, your willingness to learn, and your commitment to teamwork.
I'm ready. Thank you so much for all your expertise and insight.
It was my pleasure. Good luck with the interview.
And to all our listeners out there, good luck on your journey towards a greener future. Remember, every step counts.